All right, folks, we're about 10 minutes away from our Hot Saw Showdown, so make sure you go check out the concession stand, grab yourself a snack and a drink. We've got a lot of sawing coming up. You're not going to want to miss this event. And also make sure you check out the steel dealer. We have a steel merchandise in the house in the concourse. They've got lots of shirts, t-shirts, water bottles, hats, tons of stuff that you can take home so you can remember this 2024 Canadian Championship here in Kelowna, BC. We have one more event coming up in 10 minutes, and that is the Hot Saw Showdown. You're going to want to stick around. We got more sawing coming right up.
Folks, I'll encourage you all to be sure to be ready to plug your ears. If you can get your hands on some earplugs, by all means wear them. This will be the loudest thing you may have heard in a very long time. It's going to rattle you right to the core. These are massive saws. What you're looking at are custom built chainsaws built from old dirt bikes and skidoos. They can run up to 400 cc's. Your average chainsaw at your home is 50 cc's. These things are 7 and 8 times that amount of power. They're incredible and incredibly loud. Wild machines. You're going to see some wild racing here today in Kelowna. We're almost ready to go here.
All right, good afternoon, folks. How's everyone doing today? Here we go. Thank you so much for sticking around. Welcome to the 2024 Steel Timber Sports Canadian Championship. We have our Hot Saw Showdown. It's our third and final event of the weekend. It's been an incredible weekend here so far at Prospera Place in Kelowna, BC. We crowned our men's champion yesterday, Ben Cumberland, and today we have Andrea Hand taking home the Pro Women's Championship. It's been an incredible competition so far, but now we have the event I think a lot of our athletes have been waiting for, and that is the Hot Saw Showdown.
Yeah, year number 2 of the Hot Saw Showdown, Lindsay. Exclusive to Canada so far, anyway. I feel like other nations are going to be jumping on board with this one. It's an incredible tournament of head-to-head racing. We're going to have 12 hot sawyers go up in our first round. They'll get a time. Those times will rank the sawyers, and the top 8 will move on to head-to-head knockout style format. It'll go from 12 to 8, cut down to 4, then we'll go down to 2, have a large final, a small final, and crown a champion for our Hot Saw Showdown here in Kelowna. It's going to be loud and wild and crazy, and we may very well see a world record broken here today in Kelowna.
Amazing. Are we ready for this competition, folks? I think we're ready. Now, these hot saws are extremely loud, so you may want to use hearing protection to cover you and your young ones' ears. It definitely gets super loud on this stage and out in the arena. And I think it's about time we learn a little bit more about the hot saw competition. There you have it, folks. The Hot Saw Showdown has begun. But first, before we bring out our competitors, we have to bring out the most important component to this competition, and that is your official Steel Timber Sports judges, Darren Colford, Roger Briscoe, and Jonathan Russell. These guys have had to make some really tough calls this weekend, and hopefully they have a really good competition here at the Hot Saw Showdown. Hopefully not too many DQs they got to call. Yeah, hot saws are notorious for their infractions. Today it's going to work a little differently than a typical hot saw competition where you would have a DQ for an infraction. In fact, there'll be 5-second penalties. So you're still going to get a time, but it's going to slow you down. You bet. All right, now to bring out your competitors, make some noise for your 2024 Hot Saw Showdown athletes: Nathan Cumberland, Bill Bischoff, Garnet Peters, Nick Russell, Scott Reed, Carson Bischoff, Danielle Koch, Caitlin Reed, Marcel Dupuis, Carl Bischoff, Jeff Larkin, and Ben Cumberland. There you go. What a lineup. Some very competent, high-level hot sawyers. And this is a very different tournament format. You don't see this anywhere else. I cannot wait for this, Lindsay. All right, let's have one more big hand for your 2024 Steel Timber Sports Hot Saw Showdown competitors. All right, we got 12 incredible athletes. We're going to send everyone except for our first heat, Nathan Cumberland and Bill Bischoff, off stage to get their saws ready for their heat. And we're about ready for heat number 1. Once again, Nathan Cumberland on stand number 1 and Bill Bischoff on stand number 2. Nathan Cumberland running a 325cc chainsaw built by Scott Reed, one of the fellow competitors here. The chain was done by Nate's father, Rod Cumberland.
So we'll be interested to see how this saw runs. 325 cc's versus Bill Bischoff's self-built saw. It's 265 cc's. He's built this one himself. Lindsay, knows it near and dear, knows everything about it, the ins and outs. There's a huge advantage when you know that saw intimately and can understand when there's little tweaks and changes to make.
You got it. He's been running that saw for years, and it worked out well for him in the men's championship.
Sure did.
And Nathan Cumberland
earned him a spot on the podium.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
Yep. Bill Bischoff yesterday having a great run. Okay, we're ready for this heat.
Warm up your saws. $30 seconds.
So they have 60 seconds, Lindsay, to warm up these saws, get them primed, ready to go. We're hoping that Nathan can get his turned over. They're very finicky devices. Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't.
Nathan Cumberland having the same issue yesterday. He had one pull at the end there yesterday. Then it worked. He knows the saw can work. He just got to get that pulley.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great cut by Bill. But can Nathan get it going and get a cut in?
Time still running for Nathan Cumberland on stand number 1. Bill Bischoff with an unofficial time of 7.22 seconds. Once again, this is the time trial.
Exactly. You just want a time because it'll rank you, and then you still got to run in the next row. It's worth it for Nathan. He still has 30 seconds on the clock. It's worth it to keep making these pulls, keep putting the time in. If he can get the saw running and get a time, he may still get a spot in the top 8. 20 seconds to go. He's still running strong. He still has time, Lindsay.
Yep.
But boy, the pressure's on, the drama.
Yes, he's keeping calm. He's got to stay calm. He's almost there. Nope,
He's
he's
shutting
calling
it down.
it down.
Unfortunately, no run.
There
Now,
you go, folks. Let's have one more big hand for both of your competitors. Bill Bischoff, Nathan Cumberland. That's a DNF for Nathan Cumberland.
the interesting thing with that, Lindsay, to add to that complexity, he shares that saw with his brother, Ben, who's coming up later. That means they've got to go back, do some tune-ups, and make sure they can get that saw running for Ben's run. Otherwise, he's out too. Wow.
All right, so starting this time trial off, Bill Bischoff, the official time of, unofficial time of 7.22 seconds. That's a do not finish on stand number 1, Nathan Cumberland. But yeah, like you said, we'll see that saw again. Hopefully, we'll have something there.
Yeah, that's looking like a good time there. Personal best, it's looking for Bill. If that time stands, 7.22, nothing wrong with that. And a great start to the competition for him. That's going to put him in a good position. Chances are he's going to be in that top 8 spot. That's where he needs to be. And then you move on, top 8, and again, it goes head-to-head after that.
Yeah.
You just have to win your race. You could get a 20-second cut, but if you're faster than the other person next to you, you're moving on.
And I'm sure some of the athletes backstage watching that run with Nathan Cumberland may be feeling a little bit like, okay, I have some wiggle room.
Yep.
We eliminate 4 athletes, and we've already eliminated 1. That's Nathan Cumberland. So 3 more athletes are going to be eliminated after this time trial and move into our first round.
Yeah, for sure. You see Bill's time dropping there officially, 7.10 seconds. Personal best for him. Great cut by Bill. And a great time to do it.
A great time to set us. The world record in hot saw, now this is unbelievable, at 4.62 seconds.
Yeah. 18 inches of lathe turn white pine. Imagine starting your saw and making 3 complete cuts in under 5 seconds. That's insane.
That's insane.
Wow. You saw how fast 7 seconds was. Imagine it almost half as quick.
All right, we're ready for our next heat of the time trials. Coming up on stand number 1, it's Garnet Peters.
And on stand number 2, it's Nick Russell. Now you see Garnet, he's running a modified stock saw with a pipe. We'd say they'd probably top out around 100 cc's. It's going to be a very comfortable saw, an easy saw to run and likely to start, but it's going to be very slow compared to these bigger saws. Nick, on the other hand, he's running a 250 cc saw, older saw built by Ed Hearn. Much more powerful saw, but like we saw with Nason's, these bigger bike saws, the old dirt bikes, they don't always want to run.
No.
So Garnet is playing it safe. He may get a perfect cut in, and he's already beaten Nathan Cumberland just by starting a saw and making 3 cuts.
Exactly.
Warm up your saws.
Two good warm-ups. That's what we want to see.
Good sign. Both guys fired right up.
Once again, the time to beat is 7.10 seconds.
30
That's from
seconds.
Bill Bischoff.
Yep. The rule here too, Lindsay, is with these big bike saws, they don't have the recoil for the starter like you would on a standard saw like Garnet's running. So it actually will throw your starter cord away. So we actually have to tether them for safety reasons so they don't throw them right across the stage, or if you need to wrap it and start it again or try to start it again like Nathan was.
Exactly. Sometimes we've seen the pull cords go all the way into the other competitor's space.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh boy, what a heat.
Nick Russell, good cut there, Lindsay.
Yeah, really good cut. Had plenty of room for that third cookie. Not like Garnet Peters. He did not leave a lot of room for that third and final cookie.
Threading the needle?
Absolutely. Looks like we have a yellow penny on stand number 1 for Garnet Peters. He's a huge second cookie, not leaving any room for that third one.
No, and remember, unlike in the standard Steel Timber Sports series where, you know, that's just a DQ if you don't make a cut. Here, if he has an infraction like an incomplete cookie or a cut over the line, they're going to be 5-second penalties a piece. It could be multiple 5-second penalties, but he'll still get a time, and it'll still get ranked in that first group of 12. So you could still potentially move on, even with cutting over the line or having a not DQ. I want to call it a DQ, but having an infraction. But Nick's cut looked great. I don't think there's any infractions over there.
Judges will make final call.
We're going to do a video review for a jump gun on this one.
Stand number 2, Nick Russell.
I got to be honest with you, that's not where I thought we were going to have a review on.
No.
Yeah, the drama.
I must have missed the yellow penny on stand number 2. Definitely saw the one for stand number 1. Judges will take a look at the video review, making sure that, as you can see, you see the competitors start with both of their hands on the wood. They cannot move their hands past that center black line before the G of go, but judges will make the final call.
Okay, on this stand we have a clean cut. On this stand we have 2 infractions.
Okay, so 10 seconds will be added. A 5-second infraction apiece for Garnet.
That's okay. Let's give him a big hand, folks. Heat number 2 of the time trial is done. 10 seconds added to Garnet Peters' official time for Nick Russell. He's walking away with 9.94 seconds. Not a bad time, right behind Bill Bischoff at 7.10 seconds. But Garnet Peters walking away with a clean cut. That's not something to
He's in the mix.
About.
Yeah, he's in the mix again. And because Nathan didn't finish, if that happens again to enough athletes, I mean, Garnet could move along to those top 8 just by doing that. But Anyway, but Nick Russell, you know, good cut there, good solid cut. Is it a winning time? Probably not, but it's enough to get you through. And it was a clean one. It was a clean cut, no infractions.
And you saw the difference in power between those bigger saws and the smaller saw that Garnet Peters had. Yes, it was, you know, a little bit, well, it's definitely less powerful, but hey, he got a clean cut or close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got a time. He got a time.
He got a time.
That was,
he got a time.
Yeah, he got something. Yeah. Made a lot of sawdust.
He did.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we got 2 heats down. We got 6 more heats still to go.
Yeah, a lot of runs. A lot of runs yet.
4 more heats still to go, rather.
Yeah, big one coming up. I'm looking forward to this next heat, Lindsay. We have a saw builder with Scott Reed. He's built a number of saws here today. And then Carson Bischoff, he's been running saws for years and years and years. The whole Bischoff clan, classic hot sawyer family. And we even have Carl, who got upgraded from the wood crew to the competition level here for the Hot Saw Showdown.
I love having Carl Bischoff on this stage. Looking forward to seeing him in a later heat.
Yep.
Wood crew making the final adjustments for this next heat. We're going to see them in just a few seconds.
Wayne the Lightning Paulson out there in his chaps. Our wood boss, boy, I bet you he'd like to be in this, wouldn't he, Lindsay? He's a heck of a hot sawyer as well. But he's our wood boss this week, and he's doing a great job. Shout out to Wayne Paulson. Yeah, there we go. We got some Wayne fans like that. You see, they put these protective covers over the chains. These chains, Lindsay, just a chain for these saws, not the saws themselves. A chain alone, a finished chain can be over $500. Just the chain. The saws can be upwards of $10,000. Unbelievable.
Okay, folks, we're ready for our next heat. Coming up on stand number 1, make some noise for Scott Reed.
Head to head with Scott. Stand number 2, it's Carson Bischoff. Scott running a 330cc saw that he built himself. Carson also running a 330cc. This one built by Simon Bertrand, originally a Dennis Cahoon with a 250 that's got a 330 head on it now. So basically equally powered saws. If they both start, you're talking about it's coming down to the operator and maybe the chain.
It may be the chain. Yeah, we saw, what was it, Mitch Hewitt yesterday had the chain just fly right off of his hot saw. That could happen, but that's why these guys are wearing the equipment, the safety equipment that they have on. You see them wearing the chaps. You see ear protection, and eye protection as well.
Yeah, safety's paramount in timber sports.
Warm up your saws.
Little trouble on 2, Lindsay, but number 1 looks good. Scotty got it going right off the bat. Carson going to give it a little shot of gas. They give it a little squirt in the carburetor. You see it. Will he get it going? You bet. Good start for both guys.
Nice warm-up for Carson Bischoff. He's still got time on the clock. He can reset and make sure he's ready for the start of the heat.
Yep. It's always a race against the clock. The 60 seconds, it's a nerve-wracking thing if that saw doesn't start on the first pull.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of components that they got to make sure are absolutely perfect for when the go happens.
Yeah, they lock the trigger. They set the decompression.
Stand
oil on,
to
ready
your
to go.
timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, no.
Bad luck for Scott Reed on stand 1. Looks like the chain is off of the hot saw. That is unfortunate, but let's have a big hand for both of our competitors. And it looks like same thing.
Yeah,
for
rough.
Stand number 2.
Rough go. These saws, they're spinning so hard, so fast. Again, to throw a chain, these guys, they never want to do that. You know, that chain comes around, it can get damaged so easily. They're out here to try and they're racing, but boy, when those chains come off, they make an awful mess. It's an awful shame. Hate seeing that. 2 DNFs. So that means Scott, Carson, and Nathan Cumberland are basically out of this more or less out of this competition, almost certainly. So now you go down, you look at somebody like Garnet Peters. He needs one more DNF, and that 29-second cut pushes him through to the top 8, if you can believe that.
We've got 2 did not finish.
There we go, folks. Let's have another big hand for Carson and Scott. Bad luck. But that is the nature of the hot saw, folks. Anything can happen on the stage, and if anything can happen, it will happen on the hot saw. That's okay, folks. We still have 3 more heats still to go. All we need is, 6 more, or rather...
Yep, 3 more heats, 6 more Sawyers.
Yeah, that's it.
Getting through our 12. You know, we got 12 competitors here today.
3 DNFs, 3 good times. It's going to be down to the last one.
Yeah, and, you know, you're going to see more of those smaller saws coming up with Danielle and Caitlin, which, again, they're not going to compete for time with these bigger saws, but what they can do is put in a safe cut, just the same as Garnet did, and move on to that top 8. So it's consistency versus speed. And inconsistency when you know you have all these things that could potentially go wrong. The saw doesn't start, the chain can come off. These hot saws are incredibly fickle beasts, but man, when they run right, ooh, they're fun to watch. You saw it with Bill. You saw it with Bill. You saw it with Nick.
Yep.
Big saws, and there's a lot of moving parts here. Really unfortunate for both Carson and Scott because they are incredible sawyers. They're really great hot sawyers. I know both those guys are disappointed, unfortunately. Not going to have the chance to get a cut in here today.
But I'm quite looking forward to our next heat. Our next heat is our female competitors.
You bet.
Danielle Koch and Caitlin Reed. You just saw them earlier this afternoon battle it out for the 2024 Steel Timber Sports Canadian Championship. So close to the podium. Danielle Koch just out of reach, but she's looking to make up a lot of time with the hot saw here today. The hot saw is not a component in the women's championship, but boy, these women they can run a saw better than the best of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the smaller local logger sports contests, it's very common for all the athletes there to run hot saws, small hot saws, big hot saws, men, women, it doesn't matter. So, you know, you never know. Someday we may see the hot saw in the women's division, rookie division too, with these smaller bike saws. You never know.
Absolutely. Could happen.
I'd love to see it. 5th event. What do you think?
All right, we're ready for our next heat. Coming up on stand number 1, make some noise for Danielle Koch.
Head-to-head with Danielle, Caitlin Reed on stand number 2. We just saw Scott go. Her husband had a rough run. But again, these smaller saws, they're very, you know, they're trustworthy. They're likely to run. They're likely to get a couple cuts in. Yeah, they might be slower, but a time is a time right now.
Yeah, and these are, like you said, not the kind of saws you just go to your steel dealer and pick up off the shelf. They have been mangled and just destroyed and rebuilt into these powerful machines you see here today.
Yeah, the pipe saws. These are pretty common out in Western Canada. You see them a lot in the can log circuit out here. Not a super competitive saw in the big hot saw contest, but boy, if it gets a time, it's good here today, especially now.
Warm up your saws.
Oh my.
Caitlin Reed.
30 seconds.
Oh, I heard a crack. Sounds good.
There we go, Caitlin.
You bet. Low on fuel, maybe. Oh yeah. There you go. That's the sound we wanted, folks.
That was it.
She had a hard go in the stock saw earlier. Same thing happened.
Hold on.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Looks good.
There we go. Big hands for Danielle Koch and Caitlin Reed. Great run for Danielle Koch. Unofficial time of 14.66 seconds. A great stop. A bit of a bog just at the very end there, but she made it through. A good time.
She made me nervous.
Yeah, she really did. She wanted it really bad. And Caitlin Reed also just riding the line with that last cut. Once again, they only have 6 inches of wood to make 3 cuts.
Yep.
She's riding it right to the end. We'll find out if it's a good cut from Jonathan Russell.
And we have 2 clean cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic news for Caitlin Reed and Danielle Koch. Hopefully
great.
with times, it looks like they're going to be times moving forward.
Yeah. Good position to be in as well coming out of those rounds. That puts them right up in the mix. There's only, there's not that many Sawyers left to go. That's a great position to be in. Danielle with a great cut there. Both of them with good cuts. Danielle, other than that little bog at the bottom, which quite honestly, I thought the saw might die on her, kept going, made the cuts. I mean, you can't beat that. Getting a little wood change here now. Lindsay, they motor through this 18-inch white pine so fast you get a few cuts in and boy, it chews it up quick. A lot of sawdust out there.
It really is. Wow, great cut for Caitlin Reed and Danielle Koch.
Yeah.
Danielle Koch taking the time in that heat with an official time of 14.54 seconds. That's in your 3rd place position right now in our time trial. Bill Bischoff holding on to a 7.10 second time.
Yeah, that top seed position is important too going into the 2nd round of this because it puts him against the 8th seed, which means it's likely to be a slower saw. It's likely to be one of these pipe saws. So he knows that with his bigger saw, as long as it runs and as long as he puts in a decent cut in that 2nd round, he's against a weaker saw. So there's a bit of strategy here too. If you can get that fast time in the 1st round, it really matters.
It really does, but like you said before, and like we've seen already on this stage, those larger saws tend to be a little bit more unpredictable.
Yep.
Will they get will they start? Will the chain fly off? It's hard to say.
Yeah, there's so many things that can go wrong with those saws, I'm telling you.
But we have 2 more heats still to go. We got Marcel Dupuis versus Carl Bischoff. We've seen Carl all day, yesterday and today as a part of the wood crew. He is the godfather of steel timber sports himself.
Oh, yeah.
We're excited to see him back on the stage. We saw his son Carson. He was in that heat where the saw, hopefully they're not using the same saw.
No, they're not. Fortunately, and Carl, we've been talking about these big saws, small saws. Carl has a kind of a Frankenstein. He's sort of in the middle. He's running a bike-style saw, but it's a smaller CC. It's a 145 CC bike saw. Typically, a very consistent saw, likely to start, but also quicker than the pipe saws. Maybe that's the strategy that wins here today, Lindsay.
Yeah, it's that middle ground saw that could be the one that takes them all.
Yeah. On the other hand, we have Marcel Dupuis, AKA, probably the best hot sawyer in Canadian history. 330cc saw built by Kenny Hiltz. He has a big pump house bar on it that he always says the pump house saw strikes again. Well, is it going to strike here again today, Lindsay? I don't know.
We're going to find out soon. He's coming up in this next heat. In just a few seconds, the wood crew making the final adjustments, getting that sawdust out of the way, and making sure we have a nice clean space for even more sawdust to be put on that stage.
Yeah. If anybody needs some landscaping material, we'll just we can donate that to the trunk of your car.
So we have 2 more heats left of the time trials, and then after that, we're going to be eliminating 4 athletes from the Hot Saw Showdown, moving into our next round. And that's when the head-to-heads will come and really start to matter.
Yeah, it's all about clean cuts at this point, Lindsay, with 3 DNFs. That's 3 of the 4 elimination spots. You just need a time at this point.
And not only that, those are 3 excellent sawyers, 3 big competitors in the hot saw, and
big
just to be eliminated like that is it's heartbreaking. But we've got more sawyers to come, and we're going to get a good match out of them.
Yeah, the next 2 heats are very strong sawyers. I mean, any one of these guys can win it for sure. But yeah, we're all over the place with this small saws, big saws, starting saws, throwing chains. Oh man, hot saw's wild.
All right, coming up on stand number 1 in Heat 5, it's Marcel Dupuis.
And head-to-head with Marcel on stand number 2, it's the Godfather, Carl Bischoff. Really looking forward to this heat, Lindsay. Two very competent sawyers.
And like you said, two very different saws on the stage.
Big time. And I will say, you know, Marcel does a bit of an advantage. He got the run yesterday, cut in this wood. He's cut this wood many times. Carl hasn't cut this wood as often on this stage. He's cut this wood many times. But we'll see. You see, it looks like a bike saw, but it is a smaller CC saw, and most likely a little more reliable.
You got it. And you
That
see
said, Marcel saw is pretty reliable.
Yeah. And you see them making the marks into their wood. Like I said before, 6 inches of wood. Not a lot of room for
Warm
error.
up your saws.
One and two. Good sign, Lindsay.
Good sign. Good solid
30
warm-ups
seconds.
for both of the competitors. Now they just have
Yep.
to reset their saws in the 30 seconds that is allotted to them, and then we'll start this next heat.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There you have it, folks. Another heat in the books. Make some noise for Marcel Dupuis and Carl Bischoff.
You bet.
Not bad at all.
6-4-6, and that's probably going to drop when that goes official. That was a good cut by Marcel.
Great cut. Right now, the time to beat was set by Bill Bischoff with 7.10 seconds. I think
Yep.
Marcel Dupuis, the beast from the East, has taken that position with the unofficial time of 6.46 seconds. But Carl Bischoff, great time for him as
Yep.
well, 10.27.
the
That's
mix.
exactly what he wanted to do on the stage.
Yeah, it's just like we talked about, Lindsay. They got up there, both these guys. Now, Marcel really pushed it. He wants that #1 spot. Carl, it's all about getting the cut in, making sure he makes it to the second round. Then that's race time.
And we have 2 clean cuts.
All right, no infractions.
Fantastic news.
Well done by both those guys.
Way to go. That is it, folks, for heat number 5. We got one more heat still to go between Jeff Larkin and Ben Cumberland. This is going to be the one that decides who is in that 9th place position and who will be going on in position 8.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
I
it
know
is.
Garnet Peters is just biting his fingernails backstage, wondering if he's going to be moving forward or
Yeah.
if he's going to be eliminated. We will find out in the next heat.
Basically, both of these guys need to make a clean cut, and as long as it's faster than 29 seconds, they're in the next round. If either one gets a DNF, they're out. Garnet moves on. If both get bumped, I don't even know what happens then. I'm not sure, but regardless, what a great cut by Marcel. You saw that's how you handle a 330cc chainsaw. You cut a 6.56 official time in three cuts of white pine. Man, what a cut.
It's amazing. And you know, you have to also imagine that these saws are not light by any stretch of
No.
the imagination. They're
60 pounds, 70
pounds.
Yep.
They're a lot too, and they're powerful. They're shaking, they're moving. And so to try and create that control to make those 3 cuts within 6 inches of wood, it's a big ask of the athletes, not just of the saws, but the athletes themselves. They have to know their saw inside and out.
Yeah, you'll see the guys, they wear cleats on their feet. And one of the reasons for that is when you're running these saws, I can tell you, having run them, they push you and they pull you. As soon as they hit the wood, they suck you in, they push you back. They're incredibly powerful. And every time you give it a shot of gas, it wants to throw you around. So, they wear these cleats that helps secure their footing, because a lot of the power, as you said, these are heavy saws, a lot of horsepower. They want to push you all around. If you can secure your footing, you can at least hopefully control it a little better. But boy, they are not easy to control. Mind you, Marcel made it look easy.
That's the thing. Is that Marcel, anytime he has a hot saw in his hand, he makes it look easy. But this is not something you can just pick up on a Saturday and compete on a Sunday.
No, you don't want to be bucking firewood with this
on
a Sunday afternoon for the winter wood.
It is not. No, these guys have put hundreds of hours into running these saws, making sure they do exactly what they want to do and that they're ready for competition day with the lights, the crowd, the arena. It's a whole different ball of wax than when they're in the back of their farm running it for no one.
Yeah, very different feeling. And this stage has a way of impacting people's mental ability when they come on here. You know, the bright lights, as they say, the bright lights and the crowd and us in their ears. They can hear us too.
All right, folks, we're ready for our final heat of our time trial. On stand number 1, make some noise for Jeff Larkin.
Head to head with Jeff on stand number 2, it's Ben Cumberland. Now, Lindsay, again, we saw Nathan earlier. He was trying to run the same saw, couldn't get it running. Did Ben do some work to it to get it going? I don't know. What I can tell you is Jeff on stand 1 is running the biggest engine here today, 380 cc's, built by Scott Reed. This is a massive saw. If he can get it running and get 3 cuts in, he could very well set a new time at the number 1 seed, and that's what he's chasing.
He absolutely could, but like we saw yesterday at our Pro Men's Championship, Nathan Cumberland didn't have a great run with his hot saw, but Ben Cumberland came in and had a fantastic run on the hot saw.
Excellent
So
point.
honestly, I think Ben, he's feeling good after his championship yesterday.
Warm up your saws.
Oh, he made the tweaks.
Perfect.
He made the tweaks, Lindsay.
That is great. That's what we want to see. Remember, in that first heat, Nathan Cumberland could not get that puppy to go, but man, first pull, Ben Cumberland has got it going.
Yep. Obviously, some mechanicking was going on in the background there. But Jeff's saw ran too, and that's a good sign.
Okay.
Either one of these saws could put in a great time here, Lindsay.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great
Way
cut.
to go!
Wow.
Great cut for both Ben Cumberland and Jeff Larkin. Ben with an unofficial time of 7.98 seconds. The judges taking a look at each of those cookies, making sure they're complete, making sure there's no cutting over the line, and I think we might have 2 good cuts right here.
Yeah. Even with the infractions, they're low enough that they're definitely faster than Garnett's cut. As long as there's not more than 1 infraction, they're probably fine. I think we're both good, which means both these guys are going to go into the top 8. It's looking like that anyway. Unfortunately for Garnett.
2 clean cuts.
There you go.
Fantastic work.
You bet.
Both Ben Cumberland and Jeff Larkin moving on to round 2. I heard a big thanks, Nate, from Ben Cumberland right before that heat. I think he's feeling really good. We do have to send home 4 competitors. That's Garnet Peters, Nathan Cumberland, Scott Reed, and Carson Bischoff. 3 of them did not finish, and Garnet Peters, just with that 2 infractions, really, it put him over the edge, sent him home today. But we have 8 great athletes coming back in the next round.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, Marcel set the fastest time. He'll be the number 1 seed, so he will go up against Caitlin Reed in the second round. Bill Bischoff will take on Danielle Koch. It's looking like Ben Cumberland with that 7.89 second time puts him in the 3rd spot. He'll take on Carl Bischoff, and it'll be Jeff Larkin and Nick Russell battling it out. Going to be a heck of a second round, Lindsay.
It really is. And the wood crew's getting set for our next round. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll get back to more sawing in just a few minutes.
Lindsay, we talked about it with that #1 seed position with the fastest time in that opening time trial round. That is critical. That puts Marcel in a great spot. He's going against an underpowered Saw. However, we have the question with these big bike saws versus the smaller ones. You know, does it run? Does it start? Who knows?
And like you said before, this is the elimination round. So the winner of this heat will move forward. And
Loser goes home.
Loser goes home.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got Marcel Dupuis on stand #1 and Caitlin Reed on stand #2.
Warm up your saws.
Caitlin Reed making the final adjustments. Hopefully get a pull. Come on, cheer her on, folks. She's got to get this one started. There we go,
Seconds.
Caitlin.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Folks, you gotta give her credit for not giving up. Caitlin Reed finishing her cut But it was Marcel Dupuis with an unofficial time of 6.52 seconds. That might have been even quicker, just by a hair of his first run. Man, that Saw is being consistent with him today. The pump house Saw really doing good work, but judges will make the final call in just a second.
Winner is Marcel Dupuis.
There you have it, folks. Big hand to Marcel Dupuis, and great job on Caitlin Reed for finishing that cut. Man, that Saw was bogging down like crazy, but she made it work. Marcel Dupuis moving on to our semifinal. We have 3 more heats still to go. We're going to hear from Marcel in just a second.
All right, gang, here with Marcel Dupuis. Moving on, the pump house Saw continues to strike again and again and again. 6.54 official time with that Saw. Marcel, how are you feeling about the Hot Saw Showdown so far? You got a couple cuts in, on to the next round.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling myself out. See, taking every cut and trying to improve and trying to make some nice straight disc every time. So get a good start and try to go as fast as possible.
All right, we're going to let this side go. Get ready for the next round. Congrats, Marcel. He's moving on. Caitlin Reed's going home in the Hot Saw Showdown. Nice job.
1 heat down, 3 heats still to go, folks. We got Jeff Larkin coming up on stand number 1 and Nick Russell on stand number 2. It is going to be a quick heat. We've had some good times so far for these athletes, but Marcel Dupuis, just the king of consistency. That was insane. That was the same time as he had in the first round.
What? Oh, my goodness.
That's down to the second. 6.54 seconds in the first round.
Wow.
6.54 seconds in the second round. That is unheard of.
That is wild. Unbelievable. This guy is the king of consistency. The pump house Saw strikes again and again. And let's not forget, he is the reigning Hot Saw Showdown champion. He took home the gold-plated award last year.
Word on the street is that we're going to get a belt soon.
Yeah, they should be. I mean,
that's what this
heavyweight
competition
champion
needs.
of the world.
Heavyweight. And honestly, well-deserved. Those Saws are heavy.
Yeah, listen, this just only makes sense to me, Lindsay. What are we doing here? Let's get some belts. Let's get some crowns. I think Marcel in the crown would look good.
And once again, the Hot Saw Showdown is an event that is unique to Canada. We started this event last year in Chilliwack.
Yep.
Because, some of these athletes, they come out here and they do the Pro Men's Championship. They bring their hot saws all the way across the country, and some of them don't even make it to that third round where they get to use them.
Yeah, only half do. There's 12 athletes that start. Only 6 get to compete in the hot saw. So I love this format because it allows these guys the opportunity to run these saws. They invest a lot of money in these saws, too. They train it. They want to run them. This is a great tournament to do that. And it's fun too. These guys enjoy it. The guys and girls, everybody running in it. They have a fun time.
Yeah, and I think the crowd's having fun too, right? Right, guys? Oh, look at them.
Go.
They're fantastic. They're here. They're hanging on. They've got their ear protection on, keeping things safe for them. Man, it is just that these saws are getting louder and louder. We got another heat coming up in just a few seconds. You're not going to want to miss this. All right, looks like we're bringing out the saws. We got Jeff Larkin on stand number 1, Nick Russell on stand number 2. Now, in that last heat, you saw the competitors really take a moment right before they lift up their saws. They're taking a second right before they make that first cut. That's pretty important, it looks like it.
Yeah, you really got to line up your body, line everything up for that first cut so that you have the room to make those other 2 cuts. The thing is the width of this bar and chain alone, when you add it up over 3 cuts, that makes up an inch. So that means technically you really have 5 inches of wood to make your cuts. So it's a tight, it's not a lot of wood, but they do a good job of it.
Warm up your saws.
Good warm-up for both of our competitors, Jeff Larkin, Nick Russell. It's East Coast versus West Coast up on the stage.
Yeah, 2 very different saws. Again, Jeff's running the biggest saw here, 380 cc's. Nick's running a 250.
Yeah, Jeff Larkin had a great time in that time trial of 8.81 seconds. Nick Russell right behind him at 9.94 seconds. One of them is going to be eliminated in this round.
Winner will take on Marcel, who we just saw in the next round, the semifinal.
This is going to be a close heat.
You know, the advantage does go to Jeff with the bigger saw, but Nick's consistency, and he was only a second back off of Jeff's time, so who knows who's going to take this one. Exactly. And it could come down to those infractions, Lindsay. 5 seconds per infraction.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Whoa! Both athletes having to restart their pull cord. Who is going to get there faster? It's Jeff! Unbelievable, folks. Jeff Larkin, the unofficial time of 15.60 seconds. Wow. I think my heart stopped. I think their hearts both probably stopped. Unbelievable. Just synchronized pull cords having to reset. Unbelievable. Judges having to take a look at the blocks, making sure that both the cuts are good. No one's over the line. We're sending one home. Who's it going to be?
And the winner is Jeff Larkin.
There you go, folks. Jeff Larkin moving on to our semifinal. Nick Russell. Woo, what a cut that was. An incredible heat. Both competitors having to restart, and it was a race to reset their pull cord. We're going to find out how Jeff Larkin feels right now.
Hey, folks, I'm here with Jeff Larkin. That was a crazy heat. Both you guys had the exact same false start. Both re-wrapped super quick and both got into the wood, but the big saw got it done by the big dog. How are you feeling about that one, Jeff? The heart must be going.
Nothing worse when you pull, it doesn't go, and then you're like, I have trained for this moment. I have to re-wrap this as fast as I can, and we did it.
Hey, it's a Scott Reed saw, and it's a Scott Reed re-wrap, the fastest re-wrapper in the East. He taught you that too, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff Larkin running great here. He's moving on. He's going to be taking on Marcel Dupuis in the next round. Go get your saw ready, pal. Good luck to this guy in the next round at the Hot Saw Showdown here in Kelowna.
Here we go, 2 heats down, 2 heats still to go in the Hot Saw Showdown. Coming up next, we have Bill Bischoff versus Danielle Koch. Whew, it's gonna be a good one, but what an exciting heat this last one. Heat number 2, not disappointing in terms of drama.
That was crazy. Both guys, I mean, both saws started perfectly in the warm-up. Both saws don't go, and then both guys are re-wrapping, racing the wrap. Oh my goodness.
It was almost a competition in re-wrapping.
Yeah, and Jeff had the slight advantage in the quick wrap.
That was amazing. Yeah, and Nick Russell definitely gave him a run for his money.
Did.
He was fighting to the bitter end there. But yeah, that big saw, Jeff Larkin, just was a little bit, it was powerful.
That is a loud saw.
Am
I wrong?
Saw.
Is that shaking the rafters, that saw? 380 cc's. Are you kidding me?
Okay, folks, here we go. We got Bill Bischoff on stand number 1 versus Danielle Koch on stand number 2. Make some noise for your competitors.
So similar to what we had in our first heat, because Bill ran so good in those opening time trials, it put him in a position where his big saw is against a smaller, weaker saw. Now, how many times have we seen it? These saws don't always run. If Danielle could just put in a clean time, get a run in there, no infractions, she could move on.
She really could.
Warm up your saws. Seconds.
It was almost like that saw didn't want to die.
I thought it was going to run away on him.
Yeah, it's, I mean, they are former dirt bikes, so sometimes they just want to go for a little ride.
That's the thing. They're just mixed up, mashed up pieces of machinery.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful saw on stand number 1, Bill Bischoff. And a really consistent saw on stand number 2, Danielle Koch. Started up, took after a couple of pulls, and then, you know, she's away to the races.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Bill Bischoff with the unofficial time, 11.38 seconds. Danielle Koch. That's she's calling it there. That's a DNF for Danielle Koch. But look at Bill Bischoff with an unofficial time of 11.38 seconds. Big hand for Bill Bischoff. Judges taking a look at the cookies, making sure he didn't cut over the line there. Wouldn't be a disqualification if he did. It would just be an infraction. It would be 5 seconds per infraction. But judges will make the final call in just a few seconds.
Is Bill Bischoff.
There you have it, folks. Big hand for Bill Bischoff. Danielle Koch walking away from the Hot Saw Showdown. Not bad to make it to the quarterfinal. But Bill Bischoff will move on to the semifinal where he will go against the winner of heat number 4.
Okay, gang, here with Bill Bischoff. Bill, all kinds of things happening there. With the warm-up, was that saw, were you choosing not to shut it off, or did it not want to shut off?
It did not want to shut off. It's hungry, man. It wants to go. No, there's some, I got to go figure out what's going on with it. There's something in the handle and the throttle lock. I had to, it started running off on me, and I had to choke it down a little bit and pray for the best here.
So was the choking out, is that what impacted the cut? Because it was bogging out a bit on the cut. Is it the way you shut it off originally, or what was going on in the cut?
Yeah, I think it's sucking a bit of air here.
All right, well, we're going to let this guy go, work on his machine, get it tuned up, because he's moving on to the semifinals right here in the Hot Sauce Showdown in Kelowna.
Bill Bischoff feeling good about that. Moving on to the semifinal, but don't go anywhere, folks. We got one more heat of our quarterfinal. Ben Cumberland versus Carl Bischoff. Gonna be an exciting heat for the two of them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close race, that one. Again, it's these head-to-head styles. You don't know what's going to happen. Ben had a 7, 8, 9 in the opener. Carl was 10, 15. That would lead you to believe that Ben has a bit of an advantage going into his, he has a bit bigger saw, but that saw, again, it didn't run for Nathan. It did run for Ben, 50-50. Carl's, he knows his saw. He knows it extremely well. If something doesn't quite fire on the go, he's going to fix it. He's going to get it going. So I think it's a toss-up.
It's gonna come down to just in the moment. But like you said, like the time will run. Say, you know, it doesn't start right away. They have the time. They can reset. They can fix anything that works. Only thing that's a little bit hard to reset your chain. When
Yeah,
that's
you're
a
toasted.
little
The
bit-
chain goes.
Yeah. But here we go. We got Ben Cumberland on stand number 1 and Carl Bischoff on stand number 2 getting set for our last heat of the quarterfinal of the Hot Sauce Showdown.
Man, what an event! This is wild.
And it's going, man. I can't believe we're almost to the semifinal.
Hey, listen, we are leaders here in Canada. We were the first to host a women's championship.
Yep.
And we're the first to host a Hot Sauce Showdown.
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
And
we're just starting trends. Trendsetter.
Warm up your saws.
that's a strong
Yep.
warm up for both the competitors. Ben
Great.
Cumberland, first pull. That's what he wanted to hear
Yep.
on that saw. Carl Bischoff, great warm up. It sounded good, sounded hungry.
Yep. Again, so I mean, you know, Ben's running a 325 cc saw built by Scott Reed, chained by his dad Rod. Carl's got a 145 cc
30
saw
seconds.
built by Dennis Cahoon in California. Two very different saws, sizes, models, everything. It may just come down to the operator.
It really will.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There you have it, folks. Ben Cumberland with an unofficial time of 7.11 seconds. Judges going over to take a look at the block, making sure the cut is good. My goodness, it started off fast, but we're going to take a look. Oh, it looks like one of the cookies of Ben Cumberland's isn't that complete. We see the frayed edges of the cookies. We'll find out.
And the winner is Carl Bischoff.
There you go, guys. It's the Godfather himself, Carl Bischoff, moving on to the semifinal. He's going to be going against Bill Bischoff. Does that name sound familiar or what? The Bischoffs are synonymous with Steel Timber Sports. And we had Carl showing us how it's done with that last heat of the quarterfinal.
All right, gang, I'm here with the Godfather, Carl Bischoff, coming off the wood crew, coming onto the stage and showing us how it's done in the hot saw. You were quicker to the wood. You beat him to the wood. He is a bit bigger saw, so he beats you through it. But with the infraction, you were able to get the job done and move on. Tell us a bit about that run, Carl. How did it feel? How's the saw cutting in this wood?
Well, the saw is cutting very well. Of course, I've been off the stage for a few years, as you know, but I knew Ben would beat me badly because they got, they're way more horsepower. But I said to myself, I'm going to race this thing, and if he takes any infraction, I think I got him. And that's what happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great strategy. You know, with the smaller saws, it's about getting a good cut. But your saw is still very competitive with that 145. Dennis Cahoon?
Dennis Cahoon.
Yeah, well, it's a heck of a saw, and you're moving on, pal. You're going to the semifinals. Big hand here for Carl Bischoff in Kelowna, the Hot Sauce Showdown.
Carl Bischoff coming down from the shoe swap. Happy to have him back on the stage today. That is it for the quarterfinal. We're moving on to the semifinal, but first, it looks like we have more of our coveted Steel Timber Sports cookies to give out, so make some noise, put your hands in the air. These are great souvenirs after a weekend of Steel Timber Sports, and you're gonna wanna hang on to those steel cookies and have perhaps the winner of the Hot Sauce Showdown sign them after the show. We're going to have markers out. They'll be able to sign your cookie. It's a great addition to maybe your garden. Looks like we got a few more. So if you want, come down to the front of the stage, put your hands out. We got more Steel Timber Sports cookies to give out.
Lindsay, you heard it from Carl. He had that strategy in his mind. If I can put in a clean cut and race it, as long as Ben makes an infraction, he's got him. And that's exactly what happened. The 5-second penalty, it's so critical, these infractions. It's not a straight DQ. And, I mean, if you're beating them, you got to beat that guy by a lot to get away with an infraction. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Ben knew. He knew as soon as he finished. He just put his hands in the air and went, I mean, good run for Ben. I mean, he's still walking away as the 2024 Steel Timber Sports Pro Men's Champion this weekend.
Yeah, I think the showdown is a bit of a consolation prize for him. But for everybody else here, I mean, this is the take home. This is the big thing, right?
Absolutely.
You know, Carl's moving on. He was on the Wood Crew just 2 hours ago in the Women's Championship, jumps on the stage. Now he's moving on to the semifinal. He could win this whole thing.
He absolutely could, but we have 3 other great competitors, Marcel Dupuis, Jeff Larkin, and Bill Bischoff, coming in here. They definitely want to take that Hot Sauce Showdown title.
Yeah, we're motoring forward to our semifinals. The winners will move on to our large final, our big final, our gold medal matchup. And then the losers of the semifinal, they'll go head-to-head for our small final for 3rd and 4th place.
Exactly.
So we got a couple more rounds or cutting left to do here. I love this format. I love this format, Lindsay.
It's great, and it's moving. It's just, I can't believe we're already at the semifinal.
Yeah. You know, and you see these guys, they're changing wood again. The thing is, with this type of sawing, boy, you motor through the logs. You just go through it so fast. I want to go back. Let's go back to Bill Bischoff for a second. You know, these saws are so finicky. All of a sudden, it doesn't want to shut off. You could kind of tell he was playing with it. He's, oh, geez, what's going on here? Why won't they shut off? That's not a good feeling when you have a 265cc saw in your hands and it doesn't want to shut off.
Not really, and it really was fighting with them just on that that final last little bit, just fighting with them.
He figured it out, and the problem is when you have to do non-standard things to kill that saw, that can impact its performance. You saw it afterwards when he made the run. It was bogging. It wasn't running like it has been the rest of the weekend. He had a great run yesterday. He had a great run in the opening round today, but that run, that wasn't typical, and now he's going to have to go do some homework in between the semifinal, or the quarterfinal and the semifinal.
Exactly, and he doesn't have a lot of time. We have only one heat in between that last one the one he's up next, so he's going to be tinkering away backstage and hoping for the best.
Yeah, and as we said before, he built that saw, so that is one benefit. He knows it intimately. He can make the tweaks. He can figure it out pretty quick, whereas if you buy a saw from some other builder, yeah, you might be able to figure it out, but you might not. You might just go, well, it didn't run, so be it, back to the drawing board. You know, with Scott, for example, he built his saws. He's built other guys' saws. If something goes wrong with Jeff Larkin's saw, for example, or the Cumberlands, Scott's here. He can have a quick look at it.
Exactly, and that's what I love about this sport. It's a very community-based sport. It's competitors helping competitors, because that's how the sport continues on. It helps continue the sport, make sure that, you know, the people moving forward have the knowledge that they need to succeed. And that's what I love about, you know, working with Steel Timber Sports athletes. They are so generous, they are giving, and they're always willing to help out and, you know, teach the younger generation a thing or two.
Yeah, no question. And we saw it all weekend. We had our reigning Canadian rookie champion, Jake Hewitt, on the stage pushing a broom in the Men's Pro Championship yesterday. We've got Carl Bischoff, his grandfather, on the Wood Crew, former Steel Timber Sports competitor, and then he returns today for the Hot Sauce Showdown. I mean, I love seeing this. I love seeing the generations coming together on the stage. It's fantastic.
It's really great, and it looks like we're about ready for our next heat.
You bet
we got Marcel Dupuis on stand number 1, followed by Jeff Larkin on stand number 2.
These are big saws. Marcel running a 330cc Kenny Hilt saw. Larkin running a 380cc saw built by Scott Reed. Again, a more powerful saw, but Marcel's the more comfortable operator. He's been running the saw a lot longer.
And very consistent. Like we said before,
Very.
he had almost identical times from the time trial to the quarterfinal time. And so who knows? Maybe we're going to see I don't know, 6.53 this time. Who knows? He's, that's the consistency that Marcel Dupuis brings to his competition
He does.
every single year.
It's so true, true professional.
Warm up your saws.
Good sign, Lindsay.
Really good sign. I like how Marcel just takes the time he needs. As soon as not like warm up your saws and he's already ripping this pull cord. He's taking a moment, making sure everything's set before he makes that first pull.
Yeah, it's what the other hot sawyers should be looking at is, a guy that's this good at it, he doesn't get rattled.
30
he goes
seconds.
through his process. He has his steps. I have to do X, Y, and Z every single time. I don't care if you say it's time for me to warm up my saw. I'll warm it up when I'm good and ready to warm up my saw.
Exactly.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There you have it, folks. Marcel Dupuis with an unofficial time of 6.20 seconds. Shaving off 2/100ths of a second off of his first two goes this hot sauce showdown. Jeff Larkin with an unofficial time of 9.28. Moving into that final, we're gonna have Jeff Larkin battling it out for third place, but it looks like Marcel Dupuis is gonna be fighting for that top position for a second year in a row.
And the winner is Marcel Dupuis.
There you have it, folks. Marcel Dupuis moving into our finals to battle it out for the winner of our Hot Sauce Showdown, perhaps for a second year in a row.
Okay, gang, here with Marcel Dupuis. Marcel, moving on to the championship. You were here last year. You won the Hot Sauce Showdown last year. It seems like consistency is key. You've run 3 times, 6.17 official time, all 3 of your cuts within basically 0.4 of a second. How do you maintain this consistency in such a volatile event?
I think it's just about having the same routine every time. If you set yourself up the same way, you should have the same results. It goes for every event that we do here. You practice the same way that you compete, and then the results should be similar if everything is the same.
This guy knows how to win. He knows how to run hot sauce, and he's moving on to your final in this year's Hot Sauce Showdown. Well done, Marcel.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we got one more heat in our semifinal, and it is Bischoff versus Bischoff. Carl versus Bill. Excellent run from Marcel Dupuis. He's getting faster, heat by heat.
He is getting faster. That was a ripping time. 6.17 is no joke. And now it's Bischoff v. Bischoff.
Yep.
But we saw in that last heat, Carl played the game of, I'm going to race it, but I'm also going to make sure I get 3 good cuts because the bigger saw should beat me in speed, but if they get an infraction, they won't get it. Bill, he had issues with the saw. We don't know if he solved those issues. We have no idea.
It's been a very unpredictable saw.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to tell what's going to happen. But you know what? Like we said, Bill's probably been in the back for the past heat, making sure that everything's working well.
The past 4 minutes and a half,
guess.
Just fix your saw real quick. You got about 3 minutes. Oh man.
But that's the thing. They know these saws. Bill built it himself, so he knows that saw inside and out. But boy, he wasn't wrong. It's hungry today.
Yeah, no kidding. But man, what a rip and cut, Marcel. 6.17. He's moving on. That means Jeff is going to run again in the small final. He'll run for 3rd and 4th place against the loser of this next heat, Bill or Carl. And those two guys, one of them is moving on to take on Marcel. So we're down to the nitty-gritty, as they say. Another wood change, man. We are just chewing up this Western white pine. Beautiful wood, though. Gorgeous stuff. So this is from, you see Roger Briscoe, one of our judges. He's actually one of the wood suppliers. Himself and Nick Russell, they supply this wood from North Vancouver Island. They've been supplying the sawing wood for a number of years now, Lindsay, I think 6 or 7 years, and it's always just top-tier championship level wood every single year.
And that's the thing, the athletes have been, you know, so complimentary towards the
Yeah.
wood this year. They've just been impressed. We haven't had a lot of, you know, after the heat of complaints of like, oh, the knots, it's dry, it's, you know, like we haven't had any of that this year.
I think you're right. I think we've hit our stride. You know, shout out again to Nick Russell and Roger Briscoe for the fantastic Western white pine sawing wood they supply. And of course, again, to Mitch Hewitt for the amazing cottonwood chopping wood we had all weekend. We saw nothing but records, 2 records, national records in the women's division, multiple records and wood chopping personal bests across the board. Just a great weekend, and we're getting down to the wire here now.
It really is. We have only 3 more heats of the Hot Sauce Showdown. We got this last of our semifinal between Bill and Carl Bischoff.
Yeah. Man, oh man. Motoring.
Just motoring through.
That wasn't a pun. That wasn't a hot sauce pun. I swear.
Here we go. We got Bill Bischoff on stand 1, Carl Bischoff on stand 2.
Yeah, again, 265 cc, 145 cc, very different size saws, but it's all about the clean cuts, no infractions.
And like we said before, the winner of this heat will go on to the big final, battling it out against Marcel Dupuis for the championship, the Hot Sauce Showdown. The loser will be battling out for 3rd place.
Warm up your saws.
Oh. Bill's ran. There we go. Carl's is running. Both
30
ran,
seconds.
Lindsay, good sign.
30 seconds. It looked like Carl had his pull cord a little bit tangled. And he just took the time he needed, untangled it, set it back up, had a bit of a warm-up, bit of a shorter warm-up, but a lot more calmer of a warm-up for Bill Bischoff on stand number 1. His saw wasn't fighting him as hard.
No.
Looks like those adjustments were made.
This late in the game, you don't need as much of a warm-up. The saws are warm. It's more about just making sure the fuel's in there and they're going to go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There you have it, folks. Bill Bischoff with the unofficial time of 9.66 seconds. Carl right on his tail at 10.70. Man, that was a pretty synchronized heat down to that last cut. Bill Bischoff just taking it. Judges taking a look at the blocks, making sure both cuts are good. And we'll find out who's moving on to the final.
And the winner is Bill Bischoff.
There you have it, folks. And a handshake between Bischoffs. That's uncle and nephew. Gotta love that. That Bischoff blood runs deep in Steel Timber Sports. And we're gonna hear from Bill in just a few seconds.
Okay, guys, here with Bill. Bill, you're making it interesting. That was a much closer race than it looked like it was going to be. Saw was bogging a bit. I could hear you saying something about the fuel. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's running out of fuel. I think the fuel pump, I think the diaphragm and the fuel pump is gone, and it's feeding air into the fuel system going to the carburetor.
Okay, so we have a quick diagnosis, but regardless of what's happening, you're moving on to the final against Marcel. Is this a problem that you can deal with and solve before this next heat and win this Hot Sauce Showdown?
I don't think so.
Oh no, oh no. Well, for television purposes, we're gonna say yes, he sure can. Let's see what happens in the next round.
I'm gonna run out back and see what I can do.
All right, we're gonna kill a bit of time here. Make sure Bill's got some time. Good luck in the final round of the Hot Saw. Bill Bischoff going against Marcel Dupuis in our Hot Sauce Showdown final.
You gotta love the honesty from Bill Bischoff. A great heat between those two great competitors. It almost sounded like they had identical revs for the first two cookies back to back. It was only in that last cut that Bill snuck ahead of Carl Bischoff. But
how close was that?
They had identical revs.
Oh yeah,
it was awesome.
It was such a great race. They were quick to the wood, the same. I mean, it came down to saw power, but boy, that bog, oh my goodness.
Oh, stressful.
I hope he can, I think he can solve it.
I think
I'm optimistic.
And also, Marcel Dupuis has been running a great game, but anything can happen with these saws. That's a lot. They've used those saws now 4 times in a row. That's a lot of strain on those saws.
It is, yeah, you're right. And it's very uncommon. Most guys would not run a good saw, a good chain this many times in an afternoon ever. So, there are things that can start to appear issues with your saw that maybe you're not used to seeing. It's forcing you to deal with things like maybe heat, fuel pumps that you didn't realize the diaphragm was busted. Who knows? But hopefully Bill can get that sorted. I mean, you could look at this. If he can't run that saw, he could grab another one, bring it out, one of those old pipe saws, just put a safe cut in and say, well, if Marcel doesn't get a clean cut, if he gets a DNF, then I get the title. What's the strategy? What would you do?
That is one strategy. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, Marcel has been so consistent. Yeah. I wouldn't really be banking on Marcel having a bad cut in the final.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
But we have 2 heats still to go. We have our small final who will be battling it out for our 3rd place on the podium for our Hot Sauce Showdown. It's Jeff Larkin versus Carl Bischoff. Carl Bischoff barely 3 minutes to kind of recover from that last heat against Bill, but he's bringing that saw out again.
Yeah.
They're going to have their warm-ups, and we're going to have one more heat after this.
This is just such organized chaos. The wood crew's on it. The athletes are on it. The saws are going. The saw's still hot. I mean, his saw just ran. No break.
No break.
Oh, my goodness. It's kind of like, this reminds me of the trophy, except the saws are the ones doing the sweating.
Yeah, I'm sweating.
Yeah, they're breathing hard.
You.
They're breathing. Yeah, sure. Got sawdust glitter all through me here.
Warm up your saws.
Jeff's saw has been running great all day, that 380.
It really is. Carl Bischoff resetting his pull cord yet again. He's taking his time. He knows he's got time on the clock. One pull down, got to reset one more time.
I mean, they're running these saws enough, Lindsay, that they actually have to refill the fuel. They have very small fuel tanks typically on these things. Mm-hmm. They're, all the warm-ups, all the runs. There we go.
Got 30 seconds.
The Godfather knows how to solve those little tweaks. He doesn't get rattled.
He really doesn't. He's been on this stage for many, many years. We call him the Godfather of timber sports for a reason.
You bet. It's our small final. It's a toss-up. Who's going to take it? Winner of this takes 3rd place. And then it's on to the final, Bill and Marcel.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
your athletes. Okay, looks like we have a yellow penny on stand number 1 for Jeff Larkin. Carl Bischoff with his unofficial time of 13.81 seconds. Judges are taking a look to make sure that we have 3 complete cookies. Uh-oh. We'll see what happens.
And the winner is Carl Bischoff.
Carl Bischoff taking 3rd place in the Hot Saw Showdown. Amazing work with an unofficial time of 13.81 seconds. Incredible. We're going to hear from Carl Bischoff in just a second.
Okay, gang, here with Carl Bischoff, finishing 3rd overall after a win over Jeff Larkin. The same strategy you had in the last heat. 3 on the deck, let him make the mistakes. You got it done. Talk us through that one.
Well, the biggest thing is I didn't quite realize I was up that quick, so the motor was still hot. I went to start, it didn't go, come on, come on, come on, and you pull it, you pin it, because you got 1 minute. It's the longest minute of your life at times.
Longest, it can feel like the shortest one too. Yeah. You went against Bill earlier too. I mean, obviously, you guys, you work on saws together, all that stuff. What's it like going against Bill in a format like this, big hot saw tournament?
Oh, it's a great feeling. I'm not a young chicken anymore, so I just like to get out here and just do the best of my ability.
Well, the best of your abilities just took you from the Wood Crew to 3rd overall in the Hot Sauce Showdown. Big hand for the Godfather. Well done, Carl, on the Steel Timber Sports stage here in Kelowna.
Fantastic news for Carl Bischoff, walking away in 3rd place in our Hot Sauce Showdown. But don't go anywhere, folks. We have our final of our Hot Sauce Showdown coming out, racing for that 1st place position. Marcel Dupuis versus Bill.
Yeah, I know. It's all about can Bill's saw deliver. He's as good an operator as Marcel. His saw is slightly smaller, but he knows how to run it just as well. He had a 7-second cut earlier. Marcel's been in the 6s.
It's going to be a tight race. It
yeah.
really will be.
Oh, man. It's, this is what you ask for. Marcel won it last year.
It could come down to just the technician.
Yeah.
Both saws can be running great. They have been running good, even though Bill's been having a little bit of issues.
Yeah.
But honestly, they've been running fast.
Self-diagnosed.
Self-diagnosed, that's it.
But he did build it.
Exactly. But we have Marcel Dupuis coming up on stage on stand number 1. We'll have Bill Bischoff coming up on stand number 2 in just a second. We'll get ready for our final heat of our Hot Sauce Showdown here in Prospera Place in Kelowna, BC. It's our last heat of this 2024 Steel Timber Sports Championship Series. It's been a great year. We have had our pro men's champion Ben Cumberland yesterday take home the crown. We have today Andrea Hand had a stellar run taking home our pro women's championship, and hopefully we'll find out who's taking home the Hot Sauce Showdown championship in just a few seconds.
If history repeats itself.
We'll see.
Ben Cumberland wins the championship. Marcel Dupuis wins the Hot Sauce Showdown. Who knows?
Who knows?
We're going to find out.
Warm up your saws.
Two good warm-ups for both Marcel and Bill. Final adjustments being made on their saws.
Seconds.
That's 30 seconds on the clock.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There you go, folks. That was it, your final. My goodness, that last cookie just shooting off of Marcel Dupuis' stand. Marcel with an unofficial time of 8.79 seconds. Bill Bischoff, unofficial time of 9.28 seconds, but the judges have to look at the block and make sure that there's 3 complete cookies. It looks like Marcel went for 4 cookies and he was not convinced by that. I think it was the second. Oh, look at those frayed edges on Marcel Dupuis' cookie. That's not what we want to see. That is not a complete cookie. Judges will make the final call on who is taking home the Hot Saw Championship. Judges will make the final call. It comes down to Jonathan Russell. Darren Colford and Roger Briscoe have been making all the shots today. They are our official Steel Timber Sports judges. They get trained in Germany, come down for this event to make the most important calls of these athletes.
And the winner is Bill Bischoff.
There you have it, folks. It is the first time Bill Bischoff is taking home the Hot Saw Showdown Championship. Big hand to Bill Bischoff, and congratulations to Marcel getting second place after a great run of consistency. He gave it everything he had in the front, but we're going to say hi to Bill Bischoff.
All right, gang, I'm here with the Hot Saw champion, Bill Bischoff. I thought I was going to have to award you with one of these, but instead, Bill, I get to award you with this 24 karat gold, pure gold and platinum championship emblem. Well done, sir. Come from behind win. What a run you had here today. Ups and downs. You had saw issues, but you got the job done. What does it feel like to be the second ever Hot Saw champion here in Canada?
Feels pretty good because there's nothing more than I love than hot sawing, man. And I'd like to change my answer from earlier when you asked if I was able to get it fixed out back in time for the show. Yes, I could.
Oh yeah, as it turns out, we can edit that. See, I never lost faith in you, Bill. You know, we knew you were going to get the job done. Well done. What did you have to do? What did you have to tweak in the background to make it work?
It was the fuel pump feeding, must be a hole in the diaphragm, feeding air into the fuel system, and then it was making it run out of, it was just pumping air to the carburetor. So we ended up just quickly cutting off the lines, running it direct to the carb. It made it last longer. It started running out right at the end of the last cut. So it had just enough to get her done in that float bowl.
Just enough to get her done. Bill Bischoff, that is a line to remember. Well done, sir. Your second ever, the 2024 Hot Saw champion right here at the Showdown in Kelowna, the Steel Timber Sports Canadian Championships. Well done, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank Kelowna for hosting us here. This is one heck of a venue. You guys supplied us here. Steel Timber Sports for putting on this event. It's been wonderful. The judges, the film crew, the stage crew, the wood crew, everything was phenomenal here for this event. It made it quite a world-class event, this one.
World-class event and a world-class champion, the Hot Saw legend himself, Bill Bischoff.
Let's have one more big hand for Bill Bischoff, your Hot Saw Showdown champion. It's been an incredible weekend here in Prospera Place in Kelowna, BC. Thank you so much for joining us for our 2024 Steel Timber Sports Canadian Championship. Make sure that you check us out on TSN in the fall. You're not going to want to miss that show. We have 9 episodes of chopping and sawing. You're not going to want to miss it. Have a great weekend, everyone. And Ryan, what an incredible weekend.
Absolutely amazing. You know, Hot Saw Showdown, our second ever time doing this. It didn't disappoint, Lindsay. We had incredible runs, the drama, the ups and downs. You really don't know what's going to happen or who's going to win. And it all comes down to drive it, pushing through, getting that saw running, putting 3 on the deck, and hoping for the best. And, you know, Bill Bischoff comes out on top.
He does.
Our second champion.
You know, I think he even surprised himself, to be honest. That was incredible.
And it came down to the wire with Marcel. You know, if Marcel had a clean cookie on that last one, which it looked like it was, it rolled off and broke, I thought maybe he had it.
I thought so too.
But because of that, he didn't have the second cookie. He got the 5-second infraction. That was enough to give Bill the lead and the championship. What a finish. Amazing run here in Kelowna. Such a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Such a pleasure to work with you.
Absolutely. It's been an honor. And thank you so much for watching at home and here in the arena. We appreciate everyone who's made this competition possible, our sponsors. And we'll see you all next year in 2025. We'll see you all next year.